Hey everyone, and welcome to Questions and Answers with Mamas Uncut, where you send in your questions about motherhood, parenting, relationships, and more, and we give you the best advice possible. And don't worry, all of your questions will remain anonymous. So without further ado, let me introduce the moms that we have today. There are resident moms. We have our CEO, Lisa, and our social media strategist, Mindy. Hey guys.
Hello.
I feel like my family comes second to my husband's job. Do we have any advice? So this is what the mom said. I was having some issues at the moment. I have a 15-month-old who I have to take to a hospital appointment, but my partner asked me to change the date because of work. We got all settled to go on the 15th, and 20 minutes later, he said that he can't do the 15th anymore because his big bosses are coming into town. I also have an 8-week-old, and that's why I needed him to come with me to help out. I know work is important, but it just feels like it comes before me and the kids always. I feel a bit abandoned at the moment. I wanted to go on a movie date before my last born, but he wasn't interested in doing that. And my birthday just had gone by. I didn't get a happy birthday or a present, yet he got one for one of his female friends last week. I just feel horrid. How do you moms cope with work and everything that comes before you and the family?
There's a lot
that just kept on going. Yeah. Whoa.
There's a lot to unpack in that question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say it's bigger. The issue is bigger than the husband putting work ahead of the family. It is much more, in my opinion, indicative of a serious conversation that sort of needs to be had and some boundaries that need to be set. Because if he's buying gifts for people at work and not doing that for those at home, that's a problem. Fair?
Fair.
I'm trying to be diplomatic and nice.
So I was understanding where she was coming from until more things started coming up, because my husband has a crazy job. He's on call a lot. He's a medical man. And so he is gone in here and unreliable a lot. So I really understand where she's coming from with that. But the thing is my husband worked for a long time while I stayed home with the children. And so I kind of saw that as a give and take of our relationship. And it wasn't that my husband was unwilling to come, and he was very here when he's here. I talk about it in the past tense, like he's not. He's still around. Anyway, but as a few things got added into there, I agree. I think that there's a much bigger problem than just this hospital visit. And I think a big conversation is more than warranted when you're not upset. It's so important to have those conversations when you're not angry that he just changed the appointment, or you're not angry that he just missed your birthday yesterday, or whatever the timing is. You need to do it when you're calm, and you need to think about it beforehand and think, what am I actually trying to get out of this conversation, and what do I need him to know? So that is a huge thing with me. Yeah.
Right? Because opening that Pandora's box may lead to a very tough conversation.
Yes, right? But that's part of marriage. That is marriage, is tough conversations and opening up those boxes, because if you leave them there, they're going to explode. Especially with this coworker gift thing. Oh my goodness. I would be very unhappy about that too. If my own birthday was ignored in a coworker or a friend that's a girl, or whatever the situation was. That's upsetting. And also counseling. I know some people are really opposed to just saying, oh, my marriage needs work. My marriage needs counseling. Everybody should go through counseling, I think. My husband and I have not had any huge problems in our marriage, but right now we've been married 12 years. Yes, 12 years. And we're talking about, should we go to counseling just to get some new tools in our box to communicate, to figure out things as our marriage, goes into more stages and changes and evolves. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it needs to be normalized. I think everybody should just go to counseling.
We actually just wrote an article about a conversation that Dr. Oz was having, because he's been married for 37 years, and everybody, you know how you get, when you hit that certain threshold in marriage, you always get asked the secret. And he had an actual scientific secret. And he was like, the 7-year itch is an actual thing. He's like, your first 7 year of marriage are compounded by those love hormones and those lust hormones that you have for someone. And when you're in a relationship, and he was like, every 7 years you change, which means every 7 years your relationship has to change. So every 7 years you need to sit down and have that conversation, which I always thought was like, I've never heard that before. So that's super interesting. And like, I don't think a lot of people do that. They don't have these tough conversations.
Yeah.
So to address the first part, because I think they segue into each other, at least in my own marriage. My ex-husband and I were both CEOs. And so much of our family dynamic was around, okay, you know, we both had teams of 300 people. You know, we were both very, very busy and career focused in general. And so in our house, the pecking order was very, very clear. The kids, work, and then our relationship. Probably went first. but there's only so much time in the day, right? And so ultimately, if she's feeling, you know, that her needs aren't being met, like that needs to get out. And it's understandable that the husband is prioritizing work, because God knows I made that call a million times. My ex-husband made that call a million times. And sometimes we needed help from a third party in order to get through, just getting the kids to whatever activities they had, because you can't do it all yourself, especially when you're working very hard.
Yeah, a support network is so important. I've had to do that many times where I physically wasn't able to be in two places. And so you've got to get a support network where you have friendships that you can help people, they can help you, you can be close with others and feel vulnerable enough to ask for help. Absolutely. Which is hard, especially right now we're pandemicking. So
hopefully not for much longer.
I know. Fingers crossed.
All right, guys, don't forget to send us over your questions so we can answer them here. Bye.